Hello Stats class. This is a question from our 5.2 homework, and it's asking us to compute the mean and standard deviation of a binomial, not a binomial, a discrete probability distribution. And if you click on question help and view an example, it's going to show you how to go through and do this problem by hand, meaning multiply the 0 times the probability, the 1 times the probability, and add all those up, which is what this notation says to do. And that's perfectly fine if you want to go through and do it that way. But I do want to show you how to do this with two different things. One, your calculator, if you have a graphing calculator, a TI in particular. And then two, with Statcrunch, which again, if we see this little box, typically we have Statcrunch there available to us. So the way we're going to do this, I'm going to show you Statcrunch first. If you ever see that box and you want to do this in Statcrunch, you just click here and open. And once you're here, we're going to go just like we have before. We're going to go to Stat and then Calculators, and we are going to go down here to Custom. All right, we're on a Custom Calculator, and then notice it says Weights in. The probability distribution a mean of a probability distribution is like a weighted average, basically. Similar to how your final grade for this course is computed. So we just tell our calculator where our values are. Our values are x, and our weights are the probabilities, and then we tell it to compute those. And it can compute your mean and your standard deviation, and it can even compute some basic probabilities with this. You can tell it greater than, less than, and give it a specific number. So it's got a great calculator in between there. You can switch it to between. You can make x between two different numbers and compute those. But the more important thing for this question is there's your mean and there's your standard deviation. So 2.7 for this. Alright, and then for the standard deviation, that's this 1.1. It wants us to round to 1 decimal place, so just 1.1. Alright, so there's how you would do it on Statcrunch. Again, it's just click that, open it up, and then go to that Stat menu up here, Stat, Calculators, and then the very bottom one, Custom. Alright, now if you want to do it, if you have a graphing calculator or TI calculator, so the first thing you have to do when you have a TI calculator is put all the data in the stat editor. So again, this is underneath stat, and then just option 1 is edit. That's the stat editor, and then you put your data in here. If you already have data, you can clear it out with memory. Press second plus for memory, and then option 4 is clear all lists. Okay, and then go back in stat 1 for edit, and now they're blank. So let's fill it in with these values 0 through 5, and then right beside it fill in your probabilities. Alright, and now once you've got it all in there, second mode to get back to the home screen, and then you want to do just like you do for the mean and standard deviation of just a single list of data. You press stat, come over to calculate one variable stats. You choose that, but because we have a probability distribution, the way we let our calculator know that is we tell it there's data in list 1 and probabilities in list 2. So we press second 1 for list 1, comma, second 2 for list 2, and this tells our calculator that we have a weighted average. Alright, now we hit enter. There's our 2.7, and then there's our 1.1. So the TI calculator can handle this as well. If you're going to do this with Excel, you actually do have to use these formulas that you would use to do this by hand. You can do it quicker with Excel, but I would recommend Statcrunch or your calculator. I'll show you very quickly how to do this with Excel. So notice right here you need x times p of x. So I would just label a column here, x times p of x. Alright, and then literally just click equals, and then click each cell. The x value, the very first one, times, and so type times, and then click the very first p of x, and enter. Alright, so there's your first value in the sum, and you just drag that down. I just click there and hit that bottom right corner and drag it down. You can also, for these, you can also click that first cell and just double click. Once that turns black, double click, and it'll drag all the way down. Alright, now it says we want to take the sum of those, so now that I've got it highlighted, I can, over here in the corner, hit the auto sum button. So there's the mean. Alright, and then once I have the mean, I can get the standard deviation. I have to have the mean first to be able to get the standard deviation. So scrolling down over here, these are two different formulas for the standard deviation. With Excel, if you're going to use Excel, this is the easier formula to use. Well, it's not that much harder, but you've already got X. You've got your mean. So you can, in this cell right here, you can get X minus mu, which is the mean. So we just computed the mean. That's this right here. Just little parentheses beside that's mu. That's the symbol for it. So X minus mu, I'm going to press equals X minus, and then right here's the mean, mu. When I click it, I'm going to press F4 on the keyboard, and then notice it puts these dollar signs around. That locks in this number. This is what we're subtracting from each thing, so we want to make sure that we lock that in and don't drag the value down there. So there's that, and again I'm going to drag that all the way down to there. Okay, so there's X minus the mean. Now we're going to square these values and multiply by P of X. So right here I'm going to write X minus mu squared times P of X. So what we do here is we just click equals. This is X minus mu. We're going to square that, shift 6 squared, and then times P of X times, there's P of X. Click that and enter. Okay, and once I've got that first one, I just click back up here to the top and I drag down. So, oops, I don't need these last two. So, best thing again, yeah, I didn't think about the fact there's two values right here, so instead of double clicking, just drag down. That way you don't go beyond what you need to compute. Alright, so there's the X minus mu squared times P of X, which is inside this, and then we add all those up. So once again, I'm going to highlight all of those, and then this is open all the way. There's your sum button. So this is the variance. And then the last thing that we want to do is take the square root of this thing to get the actual standard deviation. So equals SQRT in Excel is square root. The square root of this is the standard deviation. Oops. Yes, that should be that. So there's the standard deviation. So this problem's asking for this and this. So there's our two values again, just like they were in the previous examples.